right, good afternoon. We have Joe Hejda here with us this afternoon from Central Iowa Power Cooperative, and Joe is the Manager of Smart Electrification, and he's going to share with us a little bit about what that means and just a little bit more about what his pathway has been. So welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. And right off the bat, tell me what smart electrification is.
Thanks, Emily. So I'll break it down. Smart electrification is pursuing projects for our customers that we call members. And it's going to do at least one of the following things. We want to help them save money over time. We want to help benefit the environment and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, carbon. We want to improve our members' product quality if they're a business or a farm. And overall, we want to improve quality of life. And then lastly is we want to help foster a more resilient electrical grid. So generally most of the things that we do are going to help at least in two of those, but ideally we can improve all four with a smart rebate investment. Okay,
so for those students that are watching, let's back up a moment and share what is Central Iowa Power Cooperative, what do you do? What does the company do?
Oh, absolutely. That's a great place to start. So we are a generation and transmission cooperative. So we work with our 13 member systems who are distribution cooperatives. So that's what you more traditionally think of. They are the companies that run the lines to the members' homes. They're the ones that handle the electrical service at the distribution level, the people you typically see. And our company does more of the generation and then high voltage transmission to get them to those member cooperatives. And again, we're kind of like an investor-owned utility, which most of us have, like Alliant Energy and Mid-American. The difference is that we are member-owned. So we just have a slightly different governance structure in which all our members elect people to the board who then kind of direct our activities. So we're like an electrical company, we just have a slightly different structure.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. So help me understand what led to this role at 𝐔𝐞𝐘, and what has your pathway been up to this point?
So I have a slightly less traditional education. I was in high school in the early 2000s, and the idea of going to college, very appealing to my parents, wasn't quite where I wanted to go. And due to my eyesight, I wasn't able to get the military jobs I was hoping for. So I kind of met my parents in the middle and went to West Point. I majored in economics with a systems engineering undergrad, and I was a tanker for 6 years in the Army, which was a lot of fun. Strangely, it's one of those careers you always want to be thinking about transferable skills. There's not a lot of private companies that need tank officers. So I ended up working for a couple of years in oil and gas in the Chicagoland area, and kind of used my less traditional working schedule to get myself ready to get my MBA. Returned to Iowa, got my finance MBA, and that's when I turned to energy. I really was passionate about finding a career field that would, let me do something I loved every day. I really wanted to find that. I don't know what the exact term is. Corporate social governance, or just I wanted to do something in the sustainability field, and energy efficiency is where I got started. I was working on the investor-owned utility side, doing residential, low-income agricultural programs. I absolutely loved the product. I loved working with the customers. It's such a unique business proposition because instead of merely selling more product and looking to get ahead at your customer's expense, but it creates more of a partnership where you have overlapping interests. And again, this chance to come and work for 𝐔𝐞𝐘, it just the company governance structure and the specific opportunity, the position just aligned more with where my interests were.
Sure. A lot of the terms that you've used thus far have been very intriguing to me to learn a little bit more about. Very interesting and unique pathway that you mentioned. How would you guide a student, or what advice would you give a student that was, after hearing this conversation, this was a new career that they had not heard of previously? Where would you guide them to learn more?
I think that's a great question. I was going to say, I think maybe backing up a little bit more and talking about how I pivoted from an energy efficiency career into beneficial electrification might be a better idea of kind of what got me to where I am today. And I would say, you know, starting out for me, just hands-on experience. For me, I wanted to, you know, when we bought a new home in the Iowa City area, I wanted to make the home as efficient as possible and all electric. And so, you know, starting out and understanding how a home really worked, not just at this top-down utility level, but, you know, behind the meter, how a home actually uses energy. Something that education is out there. There's lots of different ways. I mean, that you can figure that out. And so for me, looking at my bill, understanding how electricity is produced, distributed, and sold simultaneously, you know, the biggest thing that contributes to energy's cost, it's not the kilowatt hour that you use, you know, on an average day or throughout the winter. It's that 1 or 2 days a year where every peaker plant in the state of Iowa is running. That's what really sets the cost. So understanding that using electricity for most things is good. It's just air conditioning and other end uses on the hottest day of the year is what really drives that price, because that's what creates the demand for new plants. That's what creates the need for additional transmission and distribution. So for me, it was, you know, not just doing my day job, but leaning into the aspects of it that intrigued me more, getting hands-on experience, getting dirty, getting into the crawl space of my house, getting into the attic, installing my own heat pumps, you know, making mistakes, learning to go back and fix them, learning kind of the give and the take, what, you know, what's better about an all electric home and where are their shortcomings. So, I mean, I think finding, and again, I just didn't see a lot of, I still see a gap in Iowa between, you know, where we're at now in terms of, you know, a future. I don't want to use the word green economy because it always goes to that. A green economy isn't just about the environmental impact. It's also, there's money, you know. So for me, it's just seeing that there's still more opportunities that need to be filled. It just drives me every day to learn more, read more. And I guess picking up the phone, I've just made this tremendous network of reaching out to people that are doing things that intrigue me, that, you know, if I see a builder that's doing something new and unique, I'll give them a call and we'll chat about it. If I see, you know, other contractors that might be building a house differently or seeing better results. So I really think what's kind of driven me has just been that mix of curiosity and then just kind of following a unique passion. It's hard because there isn't as much of that here. I'd say looking at other states that I admire their programs and what they're doing is another thing that's really driven me.
Well, I think too, what I'm hearing you say is be curious and ask questions. You know, if you see something that sparks your interest, of course, if you are able as a high school student to engage in an internship or job shadow, absolutely take that opportunity. But also there is so much at your fingertips that you, like you said, you know, figuring out how your home works and asking questions and, you know, really being curious about the things around you. And so I think of anything, what you've said today is be curious about what you're interested in. And that's really neat to hear. Joe, last question. And along with this video, I'll post some follow-up links and additional information.
Awesome.
But we'll end on one more question. What do your days look like at 𝐂𝐸𝐵𝐶? Is there a typical day? What does that look like for you?
I think that's one of the things I like so much about my job is, I don't want to say there is no typical day. I usually on a daily basis will talk to numerous customers. We're typically discussing, again, I never really talked about this, but kind of the core bread and butter of my job is to manage and promote our rebate programs. So again, we want to make it cost effective for our members or more cost effective for them to save energy in their home. So that might be rebating water heaters, insulation and air sealing to make their home perform better. And most recently, technology has improved a great deal in the area of air source heat pumps, which makes it cost effective for more and more members to replace or augment their gas systems with all electric high performance. And again, we see a tremendous amount of benefit on our side in that it's less wear and tear on our system when it's under the most strain, and we're also finding a home for our energy resource when it's under less demand. So we are saving energy when it's expensive and using more energy to help our members when it's relatively cheap, if you will. I also talk a lot with skilled trades in regards to promoting our program. So reaching out to HVAC contractors, speaking with plumbers, trying to figure out kind of what their points of reluctance are in adopting our product, and you know, finding resources to kind of overcome those stuck points. And then lastly, looking forward, I think working more with specifically with builders and realtors to help them make their customers understand the importance of energy efficiency as well as beneficial electrification, or smart electrification as it's also called, so that it can be better sold. One of the typical criticisms that the people that pursue, you know, it might be, you know, advanced air sealing or even solar panels or geothermal, is that there's sometimes a disconnect between the value that system is adding to the home in terms of creating cash flows, and an incoming buyer coming in and being like, it's a box, it makes, you know, makes hot and cold air, and makes hot and cold water. And so understanding the differences in those incoming energy inputs and prices, and then also having an eye in the future, where do we think energy prices are going to go? Natural gas, electricity, and propane, which is, you know, typically rather expensive. Again, and then lastly, just finding more ways to make people aware of the choices they have. In the past, geothermal it continues to be one of the best things you can do from an overall environmental and energy savings perspective. But a lot of time those upfront costs can be, it just depends on the application, but especially in smaller homes, or, you know, with the overall budget smaller, it can be hard to make that pencil out. Now with, you know, air source heat pumps and other advanced wall systems, you can have a slightly smaller and, you know, overall not as cost effective, not as cost efficient, but it can be very, very cost effective and impactful. Because if the best technology in the world isn't affordable and it's not, we can't get it to our member, it doesn't help. Right. So just finding more ways to make it more accessible for more and more people to take advantage of our programs and work with us. So.
Well, I feel like I know so much more today than I did yesterday. And so I appreciate you sharing with us a little bit more about what you do. And below this video, I'll drop a couple of additional links, Joe. And if you have any that you'd like to include, we can certainly add those there. But again, thank you so much for your time, and I will speak with you soon.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Emily. I appreciate your time.